Good morning, and in this video I want to talk about the motivation myth, and I also want to add a little bit of depth to this to talk about this paradigm between motivation and discipline, because it's something that I talk a lot about, but sometimes I think it just becomes a little bit glazed over, and so I just want to add a bit of perspective to it. So first of all, motivation is absolutely something that's important, but we know that it can peak and it can wane. So if you solely rely on your motivation every single day, there's some days you're going to wake up and you're going to feel really enthused and really excited. And other days you're just not going to feel up to it, or you're not necessarily going to feel up to the challenge. And there's a lot of things that can play into that. Maybe you didn't have a lot of sleep. Maybe you feel a little bit more stressed at this time of your life. Maybe it's just one of those days, right? We're all human and it can happen. So if you're solely reliant on that as your fuel and your energy source, you're going to be in trouble, especially on those days when you feel a little bit tired. So now a bigger variable that's being spoken about is that you need to rely on your discipline over and above your motivation. And in general, I absolutely do agree with that. But I want to spend a bit more time on what that actually means in real terms, because sometimes, again, we can just glaze over these things and not really understand what we mean by that. Now, when I talk about discipline over motivation, it really means that you understand that there are a set of tasks and a set of activities that need to get done in order for you to continue to progress for whatever goals or set of achievements or assignments that you have in your life. Now, if those goals and set of achievements are important to you, then it absolutely means that you need to continue to take steps forward to achieve those things, agnostic of the environment or agnostic of the circumstances. But a part of that means that you need to accept the fact that not every day you are going to feel up to it, but you need to get it done regardless. Now, to be able to put yourself in a position where that's actually achievable, you've actually got to build and cultivate discipline. You've actually got to build and cultivate a mind that is actually primed to continue to do things when you don't necessarily feel like doing them. And there's ways of building and cultivating this that are pretty small and simplistic, and then there's slightly more advanced ways of doing it. So one of the simple ways that I go about actually helping to build and cultivate that type of mentality is a cold shower in the morning. Now, pretty much on a daily basis, my mind does not want to do that. I don't want to get in the cold. I get into the cold and my body and my mind's knee-jerk reaction is get out. But actually by staying in it, it's a continual way to build that mindset and build actually the nucleus in your own brain to help you to get used to doing something when you actually don't feel like doing it. And when you do that over and over and over again, that actually feeds into when you need to get a task done, because you're starting to build up that muscle memory of now, oh, I need to get this task done. I don't really feel like doing it, but I am the type of person that gets the task done. And that brings me on to my second point when I say that I am the type of person that you need to really fundamentally shift your identity. So when you're in a position where you're able to actually say that I am the type of person that regardless of how I feel in this particular moment, I will always get the job done, that then dictates the way that you function throughout every different component of your life. So I am the type of person that will always see the finish line. I'll always get to the finish line. So quite recently, I ran a 10K race. I didn't have any prep for it. And I did that intentionally because I knew that mentally I was going to want to give up at points. There were going to be difficult stages. But I got to the finish line because my identity tells me that I will be unstoppable. I will always get to that end state regardless of the situation, regardless of the environment. And the day that I ran, it was freezing cold, it was muddy, it was nightmare conditions with no training. But I got to the finish line and I beat the time that I set for myself because fundamentally my identity means that I needed to do that. And it's no different when it comes to discipline. I am the type of person that will get the job done in any given circumstance. So that means that when we talk about discipline, it's not just as simple as to say, well, discipline's more important than motivation. You really need to actually cultivate it and build it and do the tasks and the work to continue to cultivate true discipline. That means that you will weather any storm and get to that finish line in any given environment. So take the time to actually build out a bit of a checklist or a worksheet to figure out what does discipline actually mean to you and what are some activities that you can do on a day-to-day basis to build that mental muscle so that you continue to march forward in any given circumstance. I hope this video has been helpful in some way. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.